the NFL schedule release. But the NFL has finally released all the games and times for games. What games stand out the most to everyone, and what shocked you the most? I mean, for me, it's actually Bears Vikings week 1 on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean they're putting a lot of these conference games at the forefront this year. I mean, as you said, Bears Vikings will play right away. The Packers play the Lions in week 1. It's the first time, by the way, that the Packers will start the season at home under Matt LaFleur's tenure. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out. But it's a tough string for the Packers right away. They got the Lions right away. They'll have end up having the Commanders in week 2 on a 4-day rest. And then after that, I mean, they have Dallas at some point in the season. They'll have the Eagles. They may run into Aaron Rodgers if he finally signs with the Steelers. It's going to be a long road for the Packers. And a lot of people who I've already talked to kind of see it as
Kind of cut out, but I will say that was interesting. Oh, there he goes. But what's actually crazy and interesting is that out of the first 7 weeks, you got 3 Monday Night Football games that are double headers.
yeah, man. I think that's probably honestly, it's probably a good thing for the NFL to be able to put more games in prime time like that, and it really just allows for each team to kind of get their say, and some more than once on Monday night. I think the Packers only have the one, but I mean, other than that, it's interesting to see. But we'll see how it all plays out. And man, football right around the corner again, just like that. And I mean, we got like 3 months before we see anyone hit the field, but to just have this piece of it done, uh, gets the gears going for next year still.
Well, we also got the Sunday night schedule right here. I like that. Well, the Packers got 2 Sunday Night Football games, and the Washington Commanders got 2 Sunday Night Football games. What's crazy is because the Bears have 2 Monday Night Football games.
Yeah, and then they don't play Sunday night until week 17, and they get the Niners there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like when you have 2 Monday Night Football games. I mean, it's going to be tough to actually be able to put some Sundays in there because you don't want to put them on prime time every single week. We still want to be
Exactly.
able to get other teams in, and you still have Patrick Mahomes, so he got 3 Sunday Night Football games, and yeah, so it's really something. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't
that's
see
the
this.
money
I mean,
grab.
the crazy thing is that the Saints don't even have a primetime game.
Yeah, that's. I mean, they're in a very difficult situation right now, where, like you said, they don't have that primetime game. They don't know who their quarterback is now after the draft, and it's different from when they thought it would be before the draft. So they're probably working through their own battles right now, and I'm sure the last thing that those fans are worried about is the schedule release, because I feel like in order to have high hopes for the season, they really got to believe that they're going to try and make a push for Aaron Rodgers. Otherwise, it's not going to be much smooth sailing other than that.
What's also interesting about it is that the Cleveland Browns don't have a Monday night or a Sunday night football game. So you're going to end up possibly seeing Shador Sanders at some point, and he won't even be on prime time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the Browns end up doing with that quarterback situation. They got a kind of a weird pick a pick your five, whatever ends up being the situation, they're going to go with it. I doubt that we'll see the same quarterback or maybe even the same two quarterbacks throughout the season. I think we could see more. I think we could see 3 to 4 potentially, just depending on how things shake out. But I guess my follow up question to you is, I know it would have been pretty hard to watch all 32 schedule release videos, but were there any that stuck out to you? Any that you liked over the other ones?
I like how they waited. I mean, I like how they waited to put the Bears. Like I was telling my dad this. I like how they waited to put Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels toward the middle of the season because at first people, I think it might have been some random people or something like that. They were dropping schedules and it wasn't the right schedule, and somebody had the Bears playing the Commanders on week 1. I absolutely did not like that because when you're coming out with a new offense, a new scheme, there's going to be a lot of misconnection, a lot of uh, a lot of new people. Not as much familiarity with each other. They're not going to play much in preseason, and if they are, they're not really doing much. They're going to be doing just a little, basically like walkthroughs, so they won't get hurt. Um, so really, week one is the actual first true test of the Ben Johnson era, and I just want to wait for those kind of games, those kind of storyline kind of games, and towards till like around week four and on. You know, give them about basically really you're giving them about a month almost, week 3 weeks to really settle into their offense and see what kind of because by week four, week five, you'll know the kind of team you have. You already know what kind of team you're going to be able to run out on the field. So I'm just thinking like this is probably the best case scenario for them to play the Vikings in week one. The Vikings are also starting out with someone brand new, JJ McCarthy. You're gonna have two teams starting out with brand new offensive systems, and I mean, it'd be a good primetime game. But I just like how they waited to give the public Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams part two toward the middle of the season, so both teams could actually be okay. There would be no excuses at this point if they when they play each other.
Yeah, and I look at the Bears schedule, I also just picked out that the Bears and the Packers both got that early bye week, week 5, which
Yeah,
I mean I'm personally not a fan of
I'm
as
not
a
a fan,
someone who
but
supports the Packers, but I think when you look at this schedule, I think it's very. I mean, you look at the first 3 weeks; those are all marquee games, and then you get a little bit of a stretch where you probably until week 8, where you should. I think you could end up being 3-3 before you go into Baltimore. And then it could be pretty difficult from there. At least for that stretch, I think you can go get. If I'm looking at this just based on first glances of everything, is this? I think it's at very minimum a 8 and 9 season at the very minimum. And this is a team where if you have some of those set year 2 guys step up, if Caleb Williams starts finding his guys in the end zone, and if there's a little bit more help for him on the offensive line, if one or two more guys can get to the quarterback on defense, I think that's a scenario that could lead them to at least an 11-6 season potentially.
yeah, I mean they're supposed to have one of. That's why they put them on a lot of primetime games because they think that Caleb Williams is going to take that jump with Ben Johnson, so they're anticipating Bears actually being good, which is not a bad thing at all. Especially if you're the city of Chicago, we've been waiting for this for years. I mean, when has we had the last time where the Bears have been anticipated to be good? Not oh they exceeded expectation or oh our expectations are low, but they exceeded them again, or we had high expectations but they failed to perform, and the NFL already saw right through it. This is the first time that I think in a long time I want to say since they had that Super Bowl run when the Bears were actually primetime TV to watch, when they were actually the fans know and think they're going to be good, and then now the NFL think they're going to be good. So this is the first time we've actually seen in a long time that the Bears have been put up by the league to say, okay, this team might actually be exciting to watch. So let's put them on a lot of prime time, and let's make some money off of it. Especially
Well,
with the city of Chicago, and you have the, you have the Bears emblem. That it's historical, and so I want to get your thoughts on what you think about the Packers schedule, though.
yeah, well, as I was looking at that, as I mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of the week 5 bye week. I think that it could be another situation where it's rough sailing out the get go. I think that the Lions at home and the Commanders at home are two of the toughest home games you can have in the NFC. So, and to get those back to back within from Sunday to Thursday of those first few weeks is going to be a tough turnaround. I think they lose at least one of those. So, and then I think they bounce back against the Browns. Cowboys, that's an interesting one in Jerryland. We'll see how that goes. I could see that one going either way. I think they beat the Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers could be interesting depending on the quarterback situation. And then at home, I think they beat the Panthers. The Eagles, another tough home game. If these tough teams can come in and play in Lambeau, that's going to be a recipe for disaster. But on Monday night, I think that the Packers could take that one home and get their revenge finally. So I think the way that I looked at it was like 11-6 to finish the season. I think they go 3-3, drop one to each division foe. And like I think it's going to be incredibly close in the NFC North. I don't think there's going to be a team with less than 7 wins. I don't think there's going to be a team with more than 11 or 12. I think whoever gets to that 12 is going to be the 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 top team in that division. But I think that with last year, we weren't tested very much as a division in outer division games. Obviously, we it was a dogfight as soon as NFC North teams ran into each other, but it seemed like everywhere else, everybody was like 700 win percentage. So it's going to be interesting to see how it officially shakes out this year. I think there's a lot more challenges coming our way, and I think that's designed by the NFL.
Do you feel that preseason should be done, abolished?
I think preseason is a great opportunity, I guess just to start for the fans because especially when you think about Lambeau, at least there's those regular season games are pretty expensive, and I think that's a great opportunity to get fans in the stadium for cheap, to get some sort of football. I get there's not a push to put your best guys on the field for those games, but I still think that provides another open opportunity for younger guys to get their shine, for people to try and make their names for themselves, especially some of these rookies. There's a lot of guys that will be fighting for a spot. And I think that the preseason is the best way to let those guys have a real shot at getting on those 53 man without going beyond the practice field, because we've all heard about the stories of the practice room warriors who do everything right and they seem like they're the best fit. Everything looks great until they get the lights put on them, and then all of a sudden everything changes. And I obviously never pray for that, but it's something that happens on occasion. So I think it's a way to weed out some of the guys who are not ready for the limelight. I think it's a way for other people to step up. I think it's a great way for fans to get in the building. And I think it's just and it's more football in the end. So I think it's just a great opportunity to welcome them back. I'm glad that we're down to 3 games now. I don't think that everybody needed the full 4, but I think that to be able to get 3 games in the building, get at least one in your house every year, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think it should go down to two. Personally, one game on the road, one game at home, and then just start the season. You know, um, that's just how I feel. Yeah, people say maybe the schedule is getting a little too long, as we've seen on the NBA side, but we'll get into that in a second. Um, but some people are probably saying the NBA, I mean the NFL season is too short, so they added another game and you know got rid of the 4 weeks. So I think they should add one more. Um,
I
maybe
mean, I
give them
get that too.
maybe if you add one more, give them 2 bye weeks. You know,
Yeah, and I'm fine with that too. I think that there should probably be 2 bye weeks anyways, because especially as I mentioned, Bears and Packers bye week in week 5. By week 14, I bet you both of those training rooms are going to be loaded with football players, and that's going to be, I think that would be the perfect thing where you have like a maybe a universal bye, and that's where you put
yeah.
like the Pro Bowl or something like that, where you just like around week 14 or 15, like when it's already cold, like think like not Thanksgiving week because obviously that has its whole tradition, but maybe like 2 weeks later in like mid-December, you go and you send everybody down to Hawaii and they have your Pro Bowl game there. I get that might be tough because people are probably still locked in for their season trying to get back, but
Well, no,
I
because
think
they actually, if you think about the MLB, all the other leagues, they all have their All Star games during season. They have an All Star break.
yeah, and really, but the other thing is all those All Star games are kind of falling apart. And the NBA one this year, I think you'd agree was a little despicable. But I think that there's just too many people who'd be locked in on their season to do that. But at the very least, I think you could get a universal buy and you could find a way to at least keep those players engaged for that week where maybe they're not hitting each other, but maybe it's just like they get time to do something else. And I think that even would bolster teams' opportunities to stay healthy, and I think it would be create a better product for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that that Pro Bowl would work mid-season, in my opinion, because you know no one is really caring about the Pro Bowl when the season is over. No one
Mhm.
wants to get hurt. No one. You're not even having the best players in there, like two Super Bowl players, two Super Bowl teams. Um, so I think it'd be a fair shake for people to actually use their All Star nods during the season. So,
That's fair.
um,
I think
so
bottom line, the NHL is the only All Star game that's set up pretty well. I think everybody else has work to do.